All right, I think we're ready. So again, thank you everyone for joining us today for Larimer County Department Spotlight. We have Criminal Justice Services with us today, and they're going to talk about a few open positions they have. And I know Britta, you told me I'm gonna let you announce them because I know I'm going to get that wrong. But I know I'm very excited. We've had a lot of great response to the meeting that we have scheduled for today. So without further ado, Britta, please introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about what you do, and then I know you've got some staff members to introduce as well.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Andrew. My name is Britta Wolvert. I have been with the county for almost 10 years now. I actually started as a correctional services specialist with Alternative Sentencing Department. Now I'm currently the hiring supervisor with Criminal Justice Services. So I am the person that will walk you through the full hiring process and pre-hire process and how all that works. I do have a few people here today to talk about some of the positions. The positions that we wanted to chat about today are the Correctional Services Worker Temp position with Community Corrections, the Correctional Services Specialist position, which is both with Community Corrections and Alternative Sentencing, and then also the Court Services Specialist position, which is with our pretrial unit. So I will just go through some of the staff members that we have online, and I will kind of let them introduce themselves and give a little tidbit about what position they're in and what they like about their jobs. So how about Alex, do you mind if we start with you for pretrial court services specialist?
Yeah, absolutely. My name is Alex. As she said, I'm a court services specialist. I work with pretrial supervision. Basically, pretrial is two things. It's first and foremost, we work in the jail. We write bonds and we interview and we do background criminal histories on people. We get the bonds ready for court every single morning. The other half of the job is case management. It's a lot of social work kind of things, writing reports to the court, substance monitoring, meetings with clients, lots of things like that. Very court-based, even though we're in ASD alternative sentencing, our title is obviously court services specialist. We're more with the courts than we are with this half is what I'll say. What I love about my job, every day is a different day. In criminal justice, you will never get the same thing twice. You can talk to the same person about the same thing and each conversation will go different. It's very keep you on your toes, very fast paced. And great thing about our job for court services specialist is it's great for people who work in groups and individually. We do a ton of teamwork. We work in teams for almost everything, but since you are a case manager and you are doing duties like that individually, it's also very independent based if you're like that as well. So it serves both groups, I think. I think it works really well. I love my job. I'm a trainer as well. So I've been here long enough to be a trainer and we all love it here.
Great, thanks, Alex.
And then
Alex, you want to choose the person to go next? Or
how about
Britta?
we jump over to community corrections? Buck, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm Buck Perry. I am a security team lead here at Community Corrections. I've been here for 10 years, give or take. Our job, and Aaron and Jason help me out, Dan too. We have direct supervision over offenders / clients. There's different terminologies, but we work in the trenches, supervising these people, keeping a secure facility, clean facility, versus a remote kind of approach where you sit in a bubble and people externally do things. We're direct supervision. So we are in the hallways, in the rooms with our clientele day in and day out.
Awesome. Erin?
Hi, my name is Erin Caldwell. Sorry, Buck and I share an office. It makes it Zoom a little hard. My name is Erin Caldwell. I've been with the county now for 7 years, and I'm in the same position and office as Buck as a team lead with the women's security section over at Community Corrections. And I definitely second everything Buck spoke to. The only other part I would add is that we also are really big on community safety. So not only are we worrying about what's happening in our facility with our clients and our staff, we're also protecting the community as well, and keeping the community safe by monitoring our clients here at the facility. And then my favorite part about my job is definitely the people that I get to work with, not only fellow staff members, but the clients. I really enjoy working here, and I came from a background very opposite of criminal justice. So, but I can't see myself anywhere else. So definitely happy to work for the county and happy to work for criminal justice services.
Thanks, Erin. Ashley, do you want to chime in?
Yeah, so my name is Ashley Villanueva, and I am also part of Community Corrections. I work mainly in the security side of things. So like Buck and Erin and everyone else here, I work with monitoring and direct supervising all of our clients. I really like this job because my coworkers are awesome, but I also like that every day is different. There's never a day that's the same. And then just to add one more thing, I really love seeing our clients grow, like from their day one here until when they actually complete the program. I think it's really nice seeing all the progress that they make, and yeah, see them succeed.
Thank you, Ashley. And then it looks like we have Daniel and Jason in the same room together.
Go first.
Sure. Yeah, that's right. We had to scramble to find a spot real quick. So sorry for our tardiness, but everyone's done a really great job so far of naming all the different things that we do and what makes it so important and gratifying. I agree with all of that. It is a very interesting day in and day out, constant challenge. It's very rewarding to work with this population and to see the change take place. We have a lot of success stories that you can take pride in. And it's a great group of people to work with. It takes a special sort of personality, I think, to really work here and get into the work and be successful at it. And we have a great crew, and it's a lot of fun working with everyone. A lot of times it can be stressful and less than fun sometimes too, but then you can rely on your team, and everyone does a really great job.
And my name is Daniel. I work security with Community Corrections. And I've been at the position for around a year. I started as an intern and then progressed onto a temp position and then full-time. And I would say like the main 3 key points of working here are about accountability, holding our offenders accountable, making sure that they're abiding by the stipulations of their sentence, and also safety, keeping clients safe, keeping the community safe and the facility safe, and then sustainability, which is just making sure that these clients have the resources and the skills they need to go out in the community and be successful. And my favorite part of the job is sort of the unpredictability aspect of it. Every day is different, and you never know what you're going to walk into. But all the coworkers make the environment fun to work in and a great place to be in.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. And then we just have 2 more people from our alternative sentencing department. Kaylee.
Hi, like Britta said, I'm Kaylee. I work at alternative sentencing. Technically, it's work release. But similar to Erin, I came from a background that was not criminal justice. I came from a sales background and would have never expected to be where I am now. And I've been here for a little over 2 years. I recently joined our peer support team, and I have to say the job is rewarding for all the reasons everyone has said already. Is you have the unpredictability aspect, but even when the job gets hard, because like Jason said, it takes a specific niche to kind of be in this field, you have the team around you. If I am not as strong in a certain aspect of confrontation, and I'm sure Rufino is going to speak to this also, we work together as a team and bring different things to the table. So you're never alone. You never have to carry the weight of the job just on your shoulders. And alternative sentencing work release specifically is a little different because the sentences aren't as long term. Generally, they're pretty short term. but what impact you want to make, you have the freedom to interact and enforce the rules. But it's really what you bring to the table and kind of what you take, what you give. And so if you come in with that attitude every day to give and receive the help of the team around you, you'll make a huge difference in this field for sure.
Thanks, Kaylee. And then Rufino.
Hello, my name is Rufino Soto Garcia. I've been with Work Release coming 2 years now. Before Work Release, I came from the sheriff's office. I did that for almost 4 years. So it was a pretty easy transition because, you know, being a deputy over there is pretty stressful. And then we deal with the same clientele or population. So that was an easy transition for me because the level of stress just kind of decreased working in Work Release because we deal with minimum security personnel. And, you know, at the end of the day, if they mess up, you know, they just head next door to the jail. So that plays a benefit for us because they do have to behave at the end of the day. Just like Kaylee said, teamwork is great at Work Release. And that doesn't mean just line staff. It means supervisors, managers, directors. They set out a plan for us and they let us, you know, review it, and, you know, we all plan accordingly. So it's a team effort. It's not like they just mandate a plan for us to follow and go with it. Everyone's included. So that's what I like about working in Work Release. So if I had to choose between going back to being a deputy or doing my job still, I stay here. So that's what I love about my job, just the teamwork, and it's fun coming to work.
Awesome. Well, Britta, you brought us a whole cast and crew of characters today, and so I really appreciate that. Do me a favor, because I might be the only one. I tend to be a little bit slow as when we're looking at acronyms and whatnot. So remind me. So right now, everyone who's staring at their computer screen, we're looking at criminal justice services as a large umbrella. And underneath that umbrella, we have alternative sentencing and we have community corrections. Is that correct?
That is correct, yes.
All right. And today we want to spend our time talking about alternative sentencing with the court services specialist position that Alex had mentioned, and correctional services specialist position 1. Is that right?
That is, and that's actually under both departments. We have
Okay.
correctional services specialists under each.
Perfect. And I see a specialist and a temp.
And the temp is specific to community corrections.
Perfect. Thank you for that. Well, then let's walk through. Alex, I know you kind of started us off talking about that court specialist position, but you did a wonderful job telling us how you kind of found your way into it and what you really find passionate. Walk someone who's a little bit, like myself, just a little unaware of what a day-to-day might look like. And I apologize. I know everybody just said no day is the same. So I know it's very difficult to come up with, exact, but, to describe, a little bit further on, what this position will entail and some of the activities involved, just to get us a little bit more aware.
Yeah, absolutely. So the day normally starts over in intake. That's the jail half of our job.
Okay.
Everybody that gets arrested in Larimer County comes through us first. So we interview them, we do their criminal histories, we get them ready for court. We write a bond for them, basically for the judge, so she doesn't have to. And then in court, we have court later in the day. If they're ordered to pretrial supervision, it's another form of, we'll say, kind of like probation. It's another form of probation. You can get ordered to pretrial as a bond condition. If that does happen and they get released from custody, they post their bond, they come over here to supervision, which is where the case managers are. From there, we do an intake from them. And then all of that after that is just case management. So it's lots of communicating with the courts, the DAs, the public defender, the lawyers, lots of stuff like that. It's making sure that they're taking their UAs, making sure they're clean, making sure they're making it to their court dates and they're not getting warrants out for them, making sure that they're not getting any new charges. while they're out of custody, making sure we're keeping our community as safe as possible. Very busy. And as you said, no day is the same day. There's not a chance that you're going to come in and the day today will be the same as yesterday. There's no chance in pretrial that that's ever going to happen. So we each run caseloads. We do the court in the morning bonds, and then we run our caseloads.
Awesome. If you were apologies if I'm promoting or demoting you here, but if you were the one that was going to be looking through some of the applications of the folks that we have online today, what would really stand out for, what would make someone's application say like, this is definitely somebody I need to be speaking with? Is it past experience that they need to be kind of up on? Is it an educational background that they bring with them, or, or something different? Is there something else that you look for when you're onboarding?
Yeah, so I don't have the best answer for that because I don't onboard for those things. That'd be more of Britta. But for pretrial, we really look for people who either have obviously a degree in a related field. We obviously look for people who have any experience. This job, the training for pretrial is very extensive, very detailed. If you have any type of organizational history or case management history or anything like that, it'd be perfect for pretrial. We're just looking for people who are very detail oriented, more things like that than security side. We're less security and we're more detail oriented reports.
Okay.
So
Britta, do you want to follow up with that? I mean, tell us a little bit about the educational requirements that are required for some of these positions.
Yeah, for the court services specialist position, we do require a bachelor's degree in hopefully a related field. Any experience is great. It's not necessarily required though. Like Alex mentioned, we have a great training program with all of these positions that we're talking about today. We have a very extensive training program. So we don't necessarily require that previous experience, which is great. If you're just curious about criminal justice and want to get your foot in the door, this is really the place to do that. With our correctional services specialist positions, we only require 2 years of higher education. So you could still be in school, or maybe you just did 2 years and for whatever reason didn't finish, or have an associate's degree. Any of those would be completely fine. And we do substitute year for year with experience. So say you finished high school and after that you didn't continue on to college at all, but you worked in a jail for 2 years or had any other applicable experience, that's totally acceptable for that as well.
Perfect. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. That definitely kind of helps kind of identify, where we might be standing. Tell me more about the onboarding process. I know, any position in the county, typically, if I were to compare it to, a smaller business, we're on the lengthier side of what it takes to really go through, this onboard. We have to post a position. We have to wait for that position to expire before we even get to see who these applicants are. Once we have the applicants, we get to screen them, and then it kind of goes through. So tell me if I'm veering off track on how you might also, how your process might differ. But once you get down to the point where you have your list of 15 people that made the cut, they're inside your inbox now, you're reviewing them. What comes next? What's the process look like for individuals moving on from that step?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for asking. So it's exactly like you said, for most of our positions, we do have to wait till the position closes before we can review those applications and move people forward. The one exception to that is our correctional services specialist position. And we have that posted as a continuous posting. So it's going to be open at least for the rest of this year, probably into the beginning of next year as well. And for that one, we pull applications every 2 weeks. And I will actually be pulling applications for that position tomorrow. So if anyone online is watching this and is interested, if you want to get your application in tonight, you could very well receive a call from me tomorrow to schedule that interview.
What timing?
Right? It's very good timing for that. But yeah, once the position closes and we've screened those applications, the pretrial position, the court services specialist, that one does have online assessments. They can be done on your computer. That gets emailed to you. And then after that, and for all the other positions, we just go straight to interviews. So I would call you if you do meet those minimum qualifications, and I would set up an interview. I generally try to call you about a week before the interview. That way you can plan around your schedule, take off work if you need to, what have you.
Mhm.
And then during that process, we also do a criminal history check. Totally painless for all of you. I just need some information and then we run that completely on our end. And then when we set you up with an interview, we actually set you up for 2 back-to-back interviews. We'll do an integrity interview, and then immediately after that, you'll go into the oral board interview for that process. So it does make for kind of a long day, but it's nice that they're back-to-back. That way you only have to come into our facility once. You're only blocking out that one chunk of time versus on different days. And then we're trying to make notifications as soon as possible. There have been some times that I can make offers the same day that you had your interview,
Wow.
but we definitely do it no more than 7 days. You'll receive a call from me. And if you interview, I will call you either way. If you get a position, if you're placed on an eligibility list, or if you're not going to be offered a position, I will call you and let you know. That way you're not just hanging out waiting and wondering what's going on.
That's excellent. In fact, and I could speak on a different county department side, that's actually streamlined pretty quickly. That to be able to make offers within a week of an interview is you're doing something we're not doing, Britta. So that's great.
We're trying. That's for sure. And then just to explain a little bit of our pre-hire process too, because that does take up some additional time that people might not realize. We do a background investigation and a drug test for everyone that we hire in any of our positions. And that background investigation is just something that some of our employees do. They've been designated and trained to be background investigators. So sometimes that takes a full week. So if I make an offer to you today, it would probably be at least 2 weeks before we could have you start. If you have to give notice somewhere, if you need to give 2 weeks notice to a current employer, it would probably look more like 3 weeks.
Okay.
And that's just because we want to get those pre-hire requirements done so you're free and in the clear to give your notice to your current employer. If you happen to not pass something, we would hate for you to have already done that. So that's why we allow for that time period. And then the one other position, the correctional services specialist position with alternative sentencing, that one, you will actually get your CDL on the job. You're completely trained for it once you start hire with us, but you do need to pass a physical pre-hire. So that gets factored into that position.
Is that the DOT physical that they need to like, it goes along with the CDL?
It is, yes.
Perfect. Excellent. I have a question, and I'm trying, I'm trying to think of a way to say it without you having the terminology that you have there. But if I'm interested, I've read through the job descriptions and it's like, wow, this really feels like I can make an impact in the community. But I've never worked with, an inmate population. I've never worked with an offender population before. And I might be just a little bit nervous about that. Tell me, how is that, addressed? So if I am contemplating that, is this something that I receive training on how to interact with individuals, or is it something I just kind of, figure out by watching other people around me? How does that work?
Yeah, I'll let some of our staff members chime in on this one too, but I will mention a lot of people that don't have any experience in criminal justice. A great thing to do is a tour with us. We do offer tours of both of our buildings. So we can walk you around, show you exactly what the environment looks like. You'll see the offenders and clients walking around, feel free to start a conversation with them if you want.
Mm-hmm.
But we do have a tour coming up on October 22nd. That's on a Friday at 1 p.m. And you can sign up for that online. There is a link to our careers page on the virtual booth, and that has the information to sign up. And then we'll also more than willing to set up one-on-one tours if that time doesn't work for you. So all of my information is at the bottom of that careers page. Feel free to either give me a call or shoot me an email, and I'm happy to set you up with that. But I'll let some of our other staff members chime in as well on that question.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, I'll definitely chat on that as well. I know Buck had a couple points he wanted to make as well. I know I speak for most of us when I say a lot of us don't have criminal justice experience coming into this job. I actually have a background in marketing. So have a business degree, nothing related to criminal justice whatsoever. We have a very extensive field training officer program where I know the ASD one, and I think it's longer than ours, but for multiple weeks, usually spanning across about 2 months, you'll always be paired with a field training officer while you're getting to know the job. So you'll never be left alone in a situation in which you feel uncomfortable. As you progress throughout your training, you will get more and more comfortable having those interactions with our clients, and our clients range just like you would meet anyone in the community. We have some clients that are much easier to talk to than others would be, but as you work here more and more, you get more and more comfortable. And also throughout your field training program, you receive feedback daily from the person training you. So if they'll let you know if you're doing a good job with interactions, if maybe you need some coaching in a different aspect. It's a very hands-on training program that comes with a lot of feedback.
Awesome. Thank you. Buck, did you want to tell us a little bit too about your
I was
experiences?
just going to add that, this job, you have extensive training, and we don't let you out of that training program until we feel that you're ready to go. With that said, I mean, this job isn't for the meek or the faint of heart. I mean, you're working with a higher risk population, and to be good at this job, you have to be good at working with people and de-escalating and thinking critical. And that's what we look for in our hires. We want people that can do this job and do it well and be comfortable. I know that people come in and their parents are worried that, oh, is there bars? Is there cells that these people are in? And no, they go to work every day. They are walking in the hallways with you. They live in these buildings. So it's a different environment, but it's very comfortable. And I tell people all the time that no lesson is learned better than with experience versus any classroom. So you work this job, and I think you learn pretty quickly that's very easy to do if you're good at working with people and can think on your toes and adapt. So.
Well, I think it's incredible that you say, I mean, just even hearing it out loud, it makes me, feel better knowing that I'm going to be paired with an expert until I'm feeling, more than comfortable than doing it on my own. So I think that does take down some of the barriers to entry. I did want to give an opportunity for anybody else on the call, if you had questions or if you have questions that you'd like to ask about these positions or about anything else that I haven't addressed yet, please, by all means, you can do it in several different ways. If you'd like to unmute your microphone, be happy to hear directly from you. I think this is a wonderful opportunity. You've got some of the decision makers on the call. It's a great way to introduce yourself and go through it that way. Or if you're more comfortable, by all means, go ahead and type your question into that chat box, and we'll make sure each question gets read aloud. So any questions out there right now? I'm putting everybody on the spot. It's always more difficult when we do this. And I know, that I didn't invite anybody from Larimer County Human Resources here, but are all the positions, well, let me back up. Besides the temp position that you have, are all the other positions full-time and benefited?
They are, yes.
Okay. So I can speak from experience. I've been with Larimer County now for almost 15 years. The benefits are amazing. They really are incredible, and they tend to change a little bit. The county does shop around quite often to make sure that we're all getting the best deal that's available to us out there. But so we have health and dental and vision insurances available to you as well. The benefits take effect fairly quickly. I think it's within 30 days of hire. So the benefits are really amazing. Let's see, what other questions there? I do have my coworker Gabe on with me. Gabe, can you think of any other questions that I'm forgetting to ask right now? Oh, we can't hear you, Gabe. Doesn't seem to be working.
Hey, Andrew, can I add something too?
Yeah, please, Rufino.
First and foremost, I just like to say Britta does the hiring process smoothly. I remember just 2 years ago, like I kept thinking to myself, like, man, I'm just bugging her and asking her questions and all this, but she's always responding right away. And honestly, like every day I go to work, she's in her office working. I pass by and I feel bad because I don't say hi because she's just working and working. So she's working with hiring stuff. So she's in her office working on that stuff. And like I said, the hiring process does go smoothly and she'll respond quickly. And going back to the last question about people not feeling comfortable working with an inmate. First and foremost, in work release, we do criminal history checks before we even accept them to our program. So we know what we're getting, what we're working with. And if there's kind of like some questions there or concerns, we'll pass that to our supervisors or the team that handles the screening or voting, to get that person a yes or no into the program. So hopefully that kind of makes a potential candidate comfortable with that, in applying. And like I said, we have a great FTO program that can help with, getting that experience working with offenders and stuff like that.
Perfect.
And I was going
Well,
to echo a little bit.
Oh, go ahead.
This feedback thing. I was just going to echo Rufino real quick, just in case there's some preconceived notions of what our buildings are, but there is very much a screening process to get into our buildings. There's, of course, these people have committed crimes and they have a sentence to serve, but we're not taking higher risk people that are a danger to the community. We're not going to import these people into these buildings to then have them go out into our community and be a risk. So we have a unit, an evaluations unit that they screen things amongst their team. They have an advisory board that they screen things with, and people vote on whether or not someone's safe to bring into these buildings. So there is a definite safety factor that we make sure that our staff is not at in any real danger.
Thank you, Buck. I think that, definitely addresses any kind of concerns that some of us, some may have. And so I think, it's really important just to, be transparent about it, and knowing that you all have a very thoughtful process, and a very very comfortable team that you can rely on to make sure that everyone stays safe. I do want to ask another question. It's another one where I want to, make sure I get the words out right without sounding, and I don't want it to go in one direction versus another, but I think the nation has seen a different regard to law enforcement in these past weeks and past days. And I would love for an opportunity, because I know here in Larimer County with Alternative Sense, with community corrections, you all do things just a little bit differently than surrounding counties and surrounding states by far. And the fact that the impact that you all have on this community is so positive that how do you distinguish yourself from someone who may be concerned about moving in a criminal justice direction, and what is that? And I'm kind of putting you on the spot, Britta, I know, so I don't have a very thoughtful, clear question, but I think where I'm kind of sidling up on the side there, trying to make sure that how are you doing in creating the impression of what you accomplish in the community?
I mean, I think one of the great things that we do here is that we're an alternative to jail and prison. So we're really working with these clients and offenders hand in hand, trying to make sure that they're being a productive member of society. They're working jobs out in the community. They're going to treatment. They're completing all of their court obligations. So I just think that our agency makes such a huge difference in the lives of these people, such a positive influence on them, and hopefully just gives them some guidance to start moving in the right direction. And I think that's what I like most about what we do here.
And I remember hearing, and I definitely want to hear from anybody else that has any ideas to kind of carry that conversation going on. But I remember reading an article. Can't remember if it was in our annual report that Larimer County puts out, but it's an amazing impact, not only through the lives that you get to change, that are coming through, but economically, to be able to return somebody to I hate to use the word society, but to bring them back into the community and allow them to be productive and, paying bills and rent and, being able to participate in the economy is just a huge return on the investment that they receive from a department like you. So I think it's, very worthwhile of mentioning that, not only are you, and I think it's, probably more appropriate to concentrate on the lives that you change, because I think that's more, it's very impactful. And I know that you have participants that will sing all the praises that they receive, from the people that they've worked with there. But you're also helping to shape, Fort Collins and Larimer, Larimer County as a whole, as, a very strong economic powerhouse in the region as well. So I think the way that alternative sentencing or criminal justice services views your duties is really impactful, and I think it's a story that's definitely worth telling and hopefully inspiring those that we have on the call to really put your application in. Am I coming close to saying that correctly? Am I describing some of the other impacts that you make that maybe aren't so front and center as the fact that you get to change lives, which is fantastic, but you get to make the community a better place as well?
Andrew, I was just going to comment on what you said and what Britta said. I think it starts with culture, and I think we have a much different culture than a lot of other divisions around the state. It's very easy for there to be a us first them thing when it's someone who works in criminal justice supervising people that are serving the sentence. It's very easy to be the bad guy, but we have a culture that is, we know that these people are going to be in our community. They are going to be our neighbors. They're going to be serving food where we go to eat, fixing our cars. They live amongst us. So the motivation is to make them better and to not come back. So it really does start with a cultural thing that we truly do want what's best for them so that it's best for our community.
Excellent. Thank you, Buck.
Well, and to kind of piggyback off of what Buck was saying is it is an alternative. So in the sense of it being an alternative, it is kind of a privilege. And I don't think it's a terrible thing when we're having those little conversations one-on-one with the people that are in custody of, hey, it's a privilege to be here. And most of them are aware of that. Most of them know you would rather be in community corrections or work release than sitting in the county jail, or some people in community corrections could potentially be in prison. So they know they have a lot on the line and they know they have a lot to risk. And it's kind of being that support there for them. Yes, we have rules to enforce. Yes, there's guidelines, but being able to sit there and just remind them. And we go back to the people skills that you have of reminding them hey, you're on the right track, keep going. It does seem like a long journey, but you've made it from this point to this point. So now just keep going until you are back in the community.
Right. Ashley, were you going to say something as well?
I just wanted to add a little bit to what everyone is saying. I think a major part about working in this field is, like Buck said, the culture, but also we see a lot of people come out of prison and have that label of a criminal, right? And that follows them throughout their entire life, essentially. And so what I really like about Larimer County and what we do is that we see everyone as a human being. Yes, they have made a mistake, and yes, they're where they're at, but they're working on themselves, right? That way, one day they can go back into the community and do what they used to do, and at the same time maintain everything safe. Yeah.
Excellent, thank you. So, and I just want to, state, make sure I'm, hearing things, correctly. So we have the positions that you're, looking to onboard for, and say those correctly first. So the correctional services specialist kind of crosses over, is that right, Britta? It's going to go to alternative sentencing and community corrections as well.
Yeah, we do one process for both, and then you'll just be offered whatever department we have the opening in.
Great. So I think I just wanted to take, to recognize the idea that, when we're looking at these job titles, they have this essence of the population that you're serving. But to hear everybody on the call, it really is this idea of transformation, right? You're part of somebody else's transformation, and to be able to use your training, your expertise, and the skills that you're coming to the table with to give that back to another individual is an incredible opportunity. It's an incredible way to utilize your skill set. So, and again, I want to reiterate that this is not the normal situation that you would see in any other community. Larimer County does this a little bit differently than everybody else. So many other regions will contract out for, some of these positions that you see being posted. And so they don't have very much local control over it. And here, Larimer County really sees this as an investment in all of us, not just the people that, the populations that are, participating in the alternative sentencing and the community corrections, but it's an investment in the community to make it a better place. And I think Larimer County does an excellent job of making sure that they are rising to the level of, making sure we're serving all citizens versus, putting us in silos and only serving others and keeping curtains drawn so we can't see how the sausage is made, kind of thing. It's really, it's a breath of fresh air to know that Britta, you and your team are out here, doing this every day and making this a community a better place to live. So everyone else on the call, again, I want to make sure if you have a question that you'd like to ask, please go ahead and get that question typed into the chat box. I should probably open that chat box up, make sure I don't have any. Jose does have a question real quick. He wants to know if there's written job qualifications sent for these positions. We have not sent that out to everybody on the call, Jose. If you do have access to the internet, you can find that the position is posted on larimer.org. A couple of clicks will take you to the job page, and you can sort by department, so you can pull up all of the criminal justice services openings. It will spell out the written qualifications for that positions in there. But Britta, if you want if you know most of them off the top of your head, if you want to remind us what the minimal qualifications are, that'd be great.
Yeah, for the correctional services worker temp position, that one is just a high school diploma or equivalent. And I think maybe a little bit of experience, just 3 months preferred experience, like I had said earlier, so it's not required. The correctional services specialist, that's the full-time position. That one is 2 years of higher education, and the experience can match that year for year if you don't have that 2 years. And then the court services specialist is a bachelor's degree, which again can be matched with year for year experience.
Excellent, thank you. I put you on the spot and you sailed right through that. Good job, Britta. Are there any other questions that we can answer before we let you go for today?
Well, while people are thinking, I did want to just shout out really quick that we are doing an expansion to our facilities and basically creating a women's facility. So we're going to take the women from both our community corrections department and our work release, and they're all going to be housed in this expansion. So part of that, we're going to be hiring a lot of more staff so that we can house those areas. We've already gotten 4 positions, correctional services specialist positions approved for this year that I'll start filling here soon, hopefully. And then there's just going to be a ton in 2022. So definitely keep your eyes on us if you're interested in working in this field, because we will have positions open.
And that's excellent. And, again, I want to reiterate, and I'm not going to be able to memorize where everybody came from, but I know we have a lot of different backgrounds that brought everyone to where they are today. We have business and marketing. There's a rock star on the call that used to be rocking out in a rock band. So I mean, it's a skill set that definitely you can evolve through practice. If I was just an outside observer kind of looking in, which I definitely am, it's this compassion, and it's the desire to help people is really kind of the denominator that you all show up to work with every day, knowing that you're going to be part of somebody's life, and hopefully you're going to be part of making that better, whether it's in the beginning of that process or at the very end when you get to have that feel good moment. But it's showing up knowing that you want to make a difference. Would that be a good way to say that? Good nods. Great. All right, well, folks. Well, I want to really thank all of Britta, all of you and your staff for coming in and telling us all the amazing things that you do at Criminal Justice Services. I know it's a great department. The impacts that you have in this community and in our state is incredible. And so thank you for taking the time to let us know a little bit about what that looks like, and then of course on how to join your team. Those of you on the call, Britta just said she's doing a big applicant pool tomorrow. So if you have the time for today, get that application in. I'm going to do a shameless self plug, or actually a plug for Gabe here. So Gabe is my counterpart. I don't know if Gabe's microphone is working yet. I'm not going to put him on the spot, but Gabe is one of our career consultants, and he is available. So if you haven't dusted off your resume in a while, or if you haven't written a cover letter in quite some time, I highly recommend you reaching out to Gabe. I think he's going to throw his contact information for you in the chat box right now. So Gabe will be happy to work with you one-on-one to be able to make sure you're putting your best foot forward when you're introducing yourself to criminal justice and the opportunities that they have available. So please take advantage of that. Of course, that's a free service. It doesn't cost you anything. And I think it's always a great idea to get a couple of extra sets of eyeballs on a resume before you go turn that in, so you can get it proofread and make sure the content is exactly where you want it to be. And again, great to just introduce yourself to a career consultant like Gabe. He's been with us for over a year now, very well trained in some of these nuances of again, introducing yourself successfully to your next employer. So take advantage of that. But on that note, thank you again, everyone, for joining us. Thank you again, Britta, and all of your staff. I really enjoyed hearing all of your stories, and hopefully that inbox of yours gets really full this evening, Britta.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much, Andrew. We really enjoyed being here today.
Absolutely. Everyone, enjoy the rest of your day. Have a great day.